Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Today's kind of a special occasion. It has been 1 year since the finale of The Ones Who Live, so kind of want to give my thoughts on it. I've seen a handful of other creators that I follow kind of do the same thing, give their thoughts and just kind of the general state of Walking Dead as it stands today. And, one thing is for sure, that the Walking Dead universe is not as exciting as it was just a year ago.
We have to go back!
When everybody saw that first episode, especially just the views on my channel, views on many other channels, and just the excitement built around Walking Dead was the highest that it had been in years. And then the finale rolled around. And as good as that show was, the finale did not deliver on a handful of things. And they could have stretched that out into at least a couple of more episodes. And so that was like the general complaint about the show, was the finale was very rushed and there was a lot of just plot conveniences set up for Rick and Michonne. And yes, there were things that, built up to that finale that we actually got some payout on, which was, Jadis finally being eliminated. But at the same time, when she died, when we finally got her death scene, I still felt a little bit sorry for her. But the finale as a whole, it was about, a 5 out of 10. It was very good. It was very fulfilling in a sense, but it still failed to deliver on a lot of stuff. We had this anticipation built up about Rick and Michonne and his return to the Walking Dead world and everything for several years after he left the original flagship show. And then when he finally came back, we were all just beyond excited. The excitement around the franchise had returned after so long of people just being kind of fed up with it, being bored with it, being disappointed by it. I can kind of agree with all of those feelings anyways, where it didn't live up to what we hoped it would be, where the first handful of episodes were very good, lots of good stories, especially I think it was episode 4 that Denai Guerrera herself actually directed, and I think she had some writing, plus her and Andy Lincoln were EPs, so they got a lot of creative say-so, but they just could have stretched it into an 8-episode run versus 6. They could have done so much more with it, and we could have gotten more satisfying run. They could have sprinkled in a handful of other cameos with that reunion. Yes, I understand kind of the basis of that show was to get Rick back home to his family. That was kind of the driving force behind him wanting to get home. And then we got that. We got him reunited with his kids and then meeting his son RJ for the first time. And it was very fulfilling in that sense. But with how they've just left so many things unanswered and still have left them unanswered a year later, that's kind of, I guess, the point of this video, is that we still don't know what the fuck is going on with Rick, with Michonne, if we'll see them again, if we'll get reunions that we want to see, and just where is the Walking Dead going from here. And with a video that I did yesterday, kind of covering the uncertainty right now that's surrounding Dead City, where we don't know what's going to happen with that. There's rumors that it's going to get canceled because the showrunner, writer, executive producer, Eli Jorne, is rumored to be leaving to do another show. And with that, could his vision of what is the Dead City show now go with him, or will they try to pass that vision and creativeness onto another writer, another showrunner, or will they just kind of cut their losses and continue on with Daryl Dixon, which is just a wreck of a show if I've ever seen one. I went into that show with so much hope and excitement and everything. First season, it lived up to that excitement. Second season did not. I don't have hopes for the third and just whatever they intend to do from then on out. But here we are, 1 year later since the end of The Ones Who Live. No idea if Rick is ever going to be back. No idea if Michonne's going to be back or just what they plan to do with it, because Scott Gimple has successfully pretty much run this franchise into the ground over the last however many years that he's been in charge. And it's just been one disappointment after another. Now, kind of to go into yet another rumor, because that's all we've got to work with anymore, because there's no concrete information about any of our shows or any of our characters. There is the rumor that they are secretly working on the Aaron and Gabriel spinoff that's supposed to take place in Canada. Where in Canada, we don't know yet, and why in Canada, we don't know. We don't know why they keep kind of taking our core cast of characters and just kind of throwing them all over the world, and basically just with hopes that it will stick, it will attract people, it will bring back old fans that have since left. But I can safely say that with The Walking Dead and everything, there has been just so many fans over the years that's left and never came back, and they don't intend to come back. And anytime they do kind of take a peek to see what's going on, see how the show has fared since they left, they leave usually pretty disappointed, which you can't blame them. You can't give them any shit about it, but it's just unfortunate that it's come to this point. And here we are again a year later, and no clue to where the direction of the franchise as a whole is going to go, what they plan to do with our characters, if they plan to reunite them, or just what's going on there. And that's the biggest complaint amongst the fan base for the last year and some change now. And so I guess just the biggest question is, where do we go from here? Is there any hope for the future of the franchise? And I've made several videos about it, kind of thinking about or theorizing about what they could possibly do, and it just doesn't seem like they want to take any cues from the fans, especially Scott Gimple. I mean, say what you will about him, he has made it more clear than ever that he doesn't care, and he's focused on just basically keeping the brand going with no real indication of what he wants to do with the characters. And years are ticking by. These actors are getting older. They're not going to want to do it because they just simply can't, give the physical and just the mental or time consuming demands that is this universe. And with that, we have these shows again. I refer back to Daryl Dixon, where it started off as one thing, it's become another, and it looks like it's going to kind of morph into the same crap over and over, and with no real resolution to the story that it went into the series with, and no indication of what they plan to do with any of it. And that's just been, again, the biggest complaint about all of it. And we hope that they will take note from the fact, yes, the ones who live pretty much outperformed all the other spinoffs because it was Rick. And we can argue about it and argue semantics about it all we want. Rick Grimes is the face of The Walking Dead. And I know there's no chance in hell that Scott Gimple or anybody at AMC will ever see this video, but you need to bring him back. You need to establish a real story to get everybody back home, to bring that core group of survivors back together, and then have such a compelling story that people will want to see it. Because right now there's just not. You're just kind of throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks and hoping people will be interested in it, where the fact of the matter is people are not interested. They don't care. And as much as I hate shitting on this show and on this franchise, the voices of the fans have been louder than we should be. But it's come to the point where you have to realize that what they're doing, the path that they're taking, is not working, and they need to come up with a better idea. They need to come up with a way to close out these characters and maybe kind of go through a soft reboot with a completely different cast of characters, because you can't keep depending on the nostalgia of it all, or just these particular characters, or anything from the past to build up the hype about this again, because it's just not there. But anyways, guys, that's just my general complaint video for the day. I just wanted to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of The Ones Who Live, the last big hype and excitement about the franchise that we had. Dead City, although, is looking good, but there's still just the uncertainty of what's going on with it. Could it be canceled? Could they bring in other writers and it completely changes the focus of the show and everything, and it turns into Fear the Walking Dead 2.0, where it just takes a completely fucking just a nosedive off of a cliff, and the quality of it is just crap, and that's just another way of pushing fans away, because they don't want to see the same stuff over and over, and they don't want to see stories that aren't relevant to what they actually want to see, and they're not acknowledging all of these plot holes and storylines and character developments that they've kind of ignored over the years. But anyways, again, sorry, just a kind of complaint video / celebration for The Ones Who Live 1 year later, and just where The Walking Dead is now and where it looks like it might be going. But if you enjoy the video, if you enjoy my thoughts, if not, leave your comments below. I want to know what you guys have to say. But other than that, leave likes, comments, subscribe, all of that jazz, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.